Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So about 10 days ago, I brought you the Sony Xperia XZ Premium unboxing. And I'm super excited to report back later that, there is a whole bunch that I like about this phone. The first thing I wanted to start back with is the battery life. Now, the battery life on the XZ Premium will exceed your expectations. Now, normally I don't say things like that with so much emphasis on it's the truth or it's a fact. However, with my usage of this phone right here, I found that, the battery life is consistently at least 1 day and about 8 to 9 hours consistently. And I'm getting over 6 hours of screen on time every time. Now, I could imagine if I were to use some kind of power saving mode, or if I were to change my way of doing what I do on my phone, it would be even better. So a person who buys this phone right here, you're going to definitely experience some fantastic battery life. Anyone who can't get good battery life on this phone, I would recommend checking the apps that you're installing, making sure you don't have any rogue apps. Facebook is notorious for being an application that drains a lot of battery. Now, mind you, on my phone, I have no more than 110, 115 apps. Some people have upwards of 300 apps on their phone. How and why, I don't know, but that's definitely a personal choice. But I only put on my phone applications that I'm actually going to use. So all these things affect your battery. Battery life is always going to be dependent on the user itself. So the next thing I want to kind of talk about is the performance of this phone. Now, this phone has the Snapdragon 835, 4 gigs of RAM in here. And that combination has proven in the past that it's actually really good. So having a Snapdragon 845 device with 6 gigs of RAM and even 4 gigs of RAM, I don't see the power upgrades or the power increase that most manufacturers claim, because my usage doesn't tilt off into areas where I stay within my lane, and I use all my devices pretty much the same. So if you have a phone that has a Snapdragon 835, I would say you're still winning. I wouldn't get so much caught up into the fact that there's a Snapdragon 835 out. I get the same performance pretty much on Snapdragon 625 phones. Now, that's not to say that they're going to benchmark higher on these phones, but what I'm trying to get across is that it's easy to get good performance out of a phone from a previous generation. And I would definitely, in fact, recommend that you look that way first before you start to buy the latest and greatest, because you can definitely get some great deals. Again, I got this phone. You guys know Best Buy had it on sale for $4.99. I think that is a sweet deal for anyone that's looking for a phone that can display 4K content right on the screen, which is where I'm going to go next. The screen itself can play video and media and all kinds of things in 4K. Now, there is a way to go into ADB and set the screen to stay on 4K at all times, but in my usage and what I've seen, the people who are doing that, there's really no gains for me. I don't see myself getting any benefits from doing that. So, maybe down the line, other than bragging rights, I guess, or to say that I have a phone that's a real 4K display. But the way Sony has done this, they have toned it down to 1080p in regular use, and then when you need that 4K to kick in, I then can watch YouTube in 4K, watch real 4K content on Netflix. I can watch HDR10 content. It's all there for the taking, and I certainly enjoy it. That has been one of the main reasons why I picked up this phone. Having the ability to view 4K right on my device, I absolutely love it. And some would say, oh, this really is overkill. Well, I like to view, and I had this issue on other devices, like the most I can do is 2K, and there are a lot of phones out there that can record in 4K, but you can't view it in 4K on the display. And think about it, it's kind of weird. So Sony, while they do give us that, there are some things that they could actually improve on. So this is a 5.5-inch display. Classic Sony design. This is the Sony design. Glass front and back, the top and bottom bezels evenly proportioned. Well, I don't have a problem with the way the phone is designed. And the XZ2 Premium, the newer version of this, again, I talked about this in another video. It looked as though they did an 18:9 ratio, but they really didn't. So it leads me to say this before I get out of here. They could have taken this same body and I would have been extremely happy with it. They could have just stretched out this entire, they could have kept this same body and stretched out this screen and I would have been happy. This phone is really nice. It doesn't have a fingerprint reader, so to offset that, I use the location unlock and the body unlock and the facial recognition, and I use a pen. I use all of those, but predominantly I don't have to put my pen in much because when I look at the phone, I swipe up, it'll let you know, there's a little indicator at the bottom that it's unlocked, or if you're using location, it'll just be an unlock. Like when I'm in my office or at home or something, it's unlocked all the time, so I don't have to worry about doing anything. And that right there solves the issue of no fingerprint reader. When I'm out and about, you know, having a fingerprint reader, it is nice. And this phone does in fact have a fingerprint reader built into it. It's just disabled here in the US on the US model. And again, we've talked about this in other videos. I could flash the international ROM, but I just don't see the point. For me, I don't see the point in doing that. It's just not necessary. I've got other ways to utilize the device without modifying the device, and I'm still winning from what I figure in my usage. So, the Sony Xperia XZ Premium, folks, you know, $500 is still a lot of money. Let's be real about this. I'm able to do this because of your guys' support, your support by watching the videos. You know, donating for those that donate. All these things play a part in me being able to pick up these phones and review them for you. Some of you guys have the phones, and I have an open mind about this. And then I'll touch on the last few specs about this phone. Because the camera is something that you haven't heard me talk about, but I've already done a lot of comparisons about the camera. And so the camera, check the box. The front and rear, awesome. But some of you guys, when you comment and say, hey, can you review this phone? Sometimes I understand why you're asking that, and sometimes I don't. However, I can see why a lot of you guys were telling me back when this phone first launched, Jay, you really need to get this. But have some understanding, I don't have 800 or 1,000 to pump out every time something new comes out. And I have to wait. I'm willing to wait. Unless I get some kind of review unit, I'm willing to wait, and I have to wait. Well, I don't have to, but I'm responsible with my money, so I'm going to wait. And I'm going to be patient. And that's all I did with this phone right here. I just waited until it hit a number that I thought was reasonable because I had no time with the phone, and I won. I feel like I came up on this one. The reason being is this phone has a headphone jack, stereo speakers, which a lot of people say aren't that loud, but they're loud enough for me. It has great cameras, front and rear. A gripe about this phone, I stand true on, I do not like the compartment for the SIM tray. If that breaks, if you lose that, you're stuck like Chuck, because I have another Sony where I can't even find that SIM tray. And I don't even know, I was just taking it out and it popped out and flew out, and I haven't found it since. Right here in this office. And that's a huge downfall. They need to switch to a regular SIM tray. Because the SIM tray inside this phone, this is a dual SIM phone, however, the main SIM tray is a little small, tiny. You're gonna need your fingernail to get in there, and it is a horrible design. Horrible design. So Sony needs to improve on that SIM tray technology, because fast forward to 2018, they got to get a hold on that and make it a lot more secure and much stronger and better for inputting into the phone. So with that being said, 10 days with this device. This is another mini review for you, an update. The phone is absolutely fantastic. I don't have very many complaints, and I'm enjoying it. And I've been using this regularly because the battery life is so good and the screen is awesome. So headphone jack, waterproofing, stereo speakers, NFC, SD card, dual slot SIM. I mean, it's just, the microphones on here are really good as well. So it's your man Jay Will. I will see you guys in the next video. Be sure to stick around for more. Take care.